Hello, welcome to Game 2 of the match, HaloAndy007 versus SportingElijah. Let's take a look at this kingdom. So, the trashing here is pretty weak. Stonemason and Dismantle are both pretty weak forms of trashing. That being said, there may be some ways to do that, especially with Watchtower, for example. If you Stonemason an estate, you can trash the 2 coppers. Whether or not that's actually good is a question we should ask. Or you can dismantle an estate into copper gold and trash the copper, gain the gold, use the gold to reveal to Legionary. That feels a little bit better. And I can certainly see buying some Stonemasons on 7 money if you want to buy Stonemason double Baker, for example. I think Bakers will be pretty good here. I think Mills will be pretty good here. Mill Watchtower is a little bit of a combination. You can play a Mill, discard 2 cards, play Watchtower to draw back up, use Mountain Village for the village effect. You can also use Cartographer to sift your deck a little bit, Baker for the coins. You can try to play with 1 Legionary. I worry a little bit that if you can get a lot of villages and Watchtowers in your deck, you can somewhat recover from that attack, but it's a bit of a rough attack, so I think you might strongly consider that. Elijah opens with silver, spending their coffer. Baker comes with a coffer. I think I like that. You really want to start hitting those 5s, hitting mills and stuff. And there is plus buy in the form of monkeys. So you need to get a bunch of villages if you want to use that. I guess you could Stonemason. So normally you'd say, well, I just want to hit these 4s and 5s. So having opening silver Baker, I'm hitting 5, but it's not doing a ton for me necessarily. But in this case, if you end up with 6 in a turn, right, you Stonemason for Mountain Village Mill and you're happy. I think you're pretty happy. If you high roll and hit 7, you Stonemason for Baker Cartographer. They both actually had the 2-5, so we'll see if Andy decides to diverge here. It doesn't seem crazy to me to open nothing Baker. I think Stonemason Baker is just bad. You're going to get Stonemasons accidentally along the way, not accidentally, but incidentally along the way for the overpay effect. So in that case, you'll be able to have Stonemasons in the deck, and you can thin a couple of coppers along the way with extra actions, or you can play the Stonemason for +1 buy, +coin, which it's a useful effect. Elijah opens with the Legionary. The problem I see with Legionary is you've got to get a gold in your deck, and you've got to find the 2 cards together reliably. And your opponent's already added a Watchtower, so it seems unlikely that you're going to be able to reliably attack them and really get that attack effect going. Especially if they're going for Mill, Watchtower, Village stuff, they'll just have a ton of those 3 cards in the deck. And if they've got Mountain Village in hand, they can always, whatever they discarded with to your Legionary, they can always pick up the 1 best card with the Mountain Village, then play the Watchtower to draw back up to 6. So I'll note, I guess, Cartographer is pretty good at lining things up. So if you get a couple of Cartographers in the deck, you can sift through everything that's not Legionary gold, try to get those cards lined up. So maybe that's what they're thinking. We'll see the first time they hit 7 if they Stonemason for Baker Cartographer. Yeah, a little bit of unfortunate draws for Andy. I don't think I like opening the Watchtower because of this reason. It's just not doing that much for you this early. But here I would take a Mill or a Mountain Village. Because they've got the 2 Watchtowers, Mill seems good for the deck. And they can pick it up next turn, potentially with the Mountain Village, and get a Mountain Village this turn. But I would certainly be worried as them about an occasional Legionary attack. Here they can pick up the Watchtower. They can discard 2 cards with Mill. They top deck the Mill with Watchtower. I didn't track that. So they can discard 2 cards with Mill. Now they can draw a bunch of stuff back up with this. So this is 7, and I would definitely go Stonemason, Baker, Mill for them. Sorry, this is 6. Stonemason for Baker. Sorry, Stonemason for Mountain Village Mill. I'll eventually say the right words. They kind of want to have multiples of all 5 of those, all 3 of those cards. And obviously you're happy to have as many Bakers as can fit in the deck. There's a little bit of an opportunity cost with Baker against a Legionary attack. You want to make sure you have a Watchtower in hand. And if you have a bunch of Bakers in hand and a Mountain Village and a Mill, you kind of are discarding like your gold or your good cards in order to search for your Watchtower. That being said, I think probably in this case that ends up being draw neutral. So I think I'm going to be okay with that situation. There's a little bit of a sad draw here. I think they probably want to monkey both these cards, and then they can decide what they want to do with that much money. Or it looks like they're just going to trash a copper. Again, if they can get the Watchtower in hand, they can trash those estates, and those estates are pretty bad. Again, they're trying to line up Mill and estate and Watchtower, and there's a lot of stuff to line up, so they really want to increase that action density of their deck. Elijah, turn 9 is already going for provinces. Makes sense for their deck. They've got a bunch of golds already. The Legionary in there, hoping to line that up. Again, I think I would like to Stonemason for a couple of Cartographers for them, just to help sift through the deck, find the golds, Legionaries, as quickly as possible. By the time we'll see by the time they actually get the attack in, if they're able to have it be effective. One thing I'll note is there's only 2 mining villages in Andy's deck, which feels a little bit low to me. So that's something they need to watch out for. They happen to draw them near the top of this shuffle, which is nice. But it's possible if they miss that, they're gonna have problems. But certainly they need to get more Watchtowers here. We'll see what they get. So yeah, by having the Watchtowers near the top of the shuffle, they're able to work their way through. I want another Watchtower so I can do the Stonemason stuff, but this has been a quite nice turn for them. They should be able to Stonemason for a couple more things here, or even play. I think I would play this Stonemason as plus buy. That gives you 9 and 2 buys, and then you can get another Watchtower and a pair of Mountain Villages and Mills. That feels like a decent start. The challenge you start to get is that you're behind in VP, and the Vineyard stuff is maybe going to work out. They're going to have a lot of actions in their deck with Stonemason. But Elijah's scoring provinces pretty reliably here, at least so far. The thing I mentioned earlier about opportunity costs coming up is that if you have a Mountain Village in hand and a Baker and 2 Bakers, and the decision is between to play the 2 Bakers to find the Watchtower and to play the Mountain Village and get something out of the trash, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe just play the Mountain Village and take the Baker out of the trash in that situation. But so again, there, I think instead of the estate, I think it's early enough in the game. This game's going to last long enough with Andy not going for provinces, going for vineyards, that you can Stonemason there for 2 Cartographers. And I think that will increase the long-term value of your deck more than the Duchy will. And yeah, so here they can Mountain Village for the Watchtower. They could Stonemason this estate. I would do that first. Just to get that out of the way. They may have not realized the Watchtower effect on Stonemason, or maybe they want to keep the victory point. You're not playing those estates very often. I think this is all of their villages, so their next turn may end up being a little bit rough. They were lucky enough to draw an action there. I would have considered playing that mill as a monkey. So we'll see what Andy does here. Consistent with their strategy would be Vineyard and then Stonemason for Mountain Village Mill. Again, wanting more Watchtowers in proportion with mills, and they've got 6 of the village and the mill, and only 3 of the Watchtower. So that would be my primary thing. Would be to try to get here again. I would Stonemason an estate. That gives you can trash the 2 coppers, then you can spend a coffer and buy another Watchtower. don't think I wanted to spend 2 coffers to go Stonemason, double Watchtower, but maybe this is the right time to do that. I worry there's just a lot of stuff in this deck, and it's still got almost all of its starting cards. You know, there's a chance you discard everything except for there's a chance you find a Mountain Village here, but it seems small. Yeah, so here you just discard the 2 Watchtowers and buy another Watchtower, I think. That works out the same. Star Chart. Yeah, that seems decent if they can top deck Mountain Village every turn with Star Chart. The other thing we're starting to see with Elijah's deck is they only have 1 Legionary in a deck of over 20 cards. So the chance that they actually draw their Legionary is going to be, you know, only 1 in 3 or 4 turns. So as the game goes on, the attack's going to get less worse. Now, that being said, they've already got 6 provinces, so you know, Andy's got to make a comeback here. I assume this will be Stonemason and a state, or sorry, a copper, and then draw up. Yeah, and I think, you know, Andy's deck, you have to do a lot of work here, deck tracking, knowing what's in your discard pile. You're looking at it every time, but figuring out what you're going to take. Do you take all the Mountain Villages out of the discard pile, and then you just have to be very careful not to trigger a shuffle. Also notable is you can mill, discard 2 Mountain Villages. Mill, discard, Mountain Village, Workshop. As long as you have 1 Mountain Village in hand at the end of the day, you can get everything back that you need. Yes, they didn't actually save a Mountain Village, or maybe they just used all their Mountain Villages, yeah. You can do some more deliberate things here. I think you just play this Watchtower and plan on monkeying everything else in hand. Yeah, this also works out. So you can just monkey the last 2 Stonemasons. Okay, I think that works fine too. So here, Stonemason for Mountain Village, mill, buy a Mountain Village, buy a Vineyard. See how many points that jumps you up by. You could count it, and probably if you're the one player playing the deck, you should know exactly how many points each Vineyard is. So they had 14 or 16, so that was 9. And here again, Stonemason for 2/4 costs. Yeah, they've got a chance if they buy 2 Vineyards next turn. SportingElijah is probably going to miss Province this turn and may miss Province next turn. I think as Andy, you top deck the Watchtower. It doesn't say in the client, I think, which one they clicked on, but we can discard both. Yeah, you gotta be a little bit careful to keep the potion around. They can also Stonemason the Stonemason and trash the coppers, or trash the curses if they wanted to lower piles. Probably not a great idea, but something they could do. That would have let them draw through a little bit more. It looks like they're done drawing now for the turn. So they can play 2 Stonemasons as monkeys and then figure out what to buy, which is pretty much just 2 Vineyards and then maybe a mill, maybe 3 Stonemasons. Yeah, so those are worth 8 each. So, you know, having seen both the potions, but also having provinces, so now Elijah gets put in a tough position. You know, missing province that one turn again. Their deck is still a full deck. They're playing a Moneyish, so 7 provinces by turn 17 is really good for a Moneyish deck. It's not necessarily going to compete against. I'm not quite sure what Andy's doing. Yeah, 7 provinces by turn 17 is quite good, but it doesn't necessarily compete against this Vineyard strategy, especially with Stonemason gaining them 3 actions at a time. And they've been doing 3 actions at a time for, you know, 10 or 11 turns. As we see that they've got 7 Watchtower, 7 Stonemasons, 7 Mountain Villages. So that's just a good deck for getting through. And Elijah's deck was a very good money-ish deck. The engine was able to overcome that in the end. And that's game 2.